Yeah, yes. Another day, another powerhouse woman coming to the stage on Women's Empowerment Week, brought to you by J. Noland Mastery. Make sure you get over to jnolandmastery.com. You'll be able to find all the tools, all the power that you need to take your life to the next level. You'll also be able to see the features of all the ladies we've done in the past, the women we're dialing up right now. And guess what? Today is no exception. We've got a phenomenal powerhouse guest. She's a major influencer in the world, in the Latino community, in the English community, and in the global community. I want to welcome up Miss BJ Prillaman. BJ, are you here with us?
Of course, Jay. Of course, I am. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing phenomenal, Beatrice. I'm so glad to have you here with us and be able to share this stage with you in Women's Empowerment Week. Right now, BJ, we're in Women's History Month, so we're keeping the energy going. Not too long ago, on March the 8th, we had International Women's Day, and I don't want to make it just about a day. I want to make it about a movement. I want to bring equality. I want to empower women because I believe that's what makes a better life for everyone. When I thought I was going to have a daughter coming into this world, we found out later on it was a son. I was blown away because I'm going, how are women really treated? And so I love having the relationship that we're building with you, BJ, because you are the epitome of what I would want my daughter to be like. So the stage is yours. Tell us your background. Tell us where you've come from, where you're going, where you've been, all the good stuff about BJ. Why don't you introduce yourself to our incredible audience, BJ?
Oh, wow, Jay. I want to say, do I start with phase one of my life, phase two, phase three, phase four? But having
Yeah,
said
start us from the beginning.
so, I was born in Venezuela, in South America, and but my father is from Spain. So I had from a very young experience the multicultural background of having, my mother have some customs, my father have some other customs, and it was very interesting, and I never saw it as a disadvantage. I saw it as a great advantage, because it made me see the world in a different way. I experienced things in different ways, so I always saw it as a positive. I did have oddities, like maybe I said words in ways that my friends didn't say them, or I ate different things at home, but it was a very rich environment for me. And then visiting my family in Spain was another experience because I could connect with that other half of the family that was amazingly attractive for me because I didn't get to see them as often as I saw my Venezuelan family. So having said that, I came to the States. I was 16 to turn 17 the first time I came to the United States. This is my second time around. And I didn't want to come to the States. I cried and cried. I was so happy in Venezuela with my friends and everything. But my dad is a big business mind with big dreams. And he always, in the same way, he went to Venezuela to find a better world. At the time, Spain was post-war, so there were not a lot of opportunities. So he decided to do the same in Spain. He said, I mean, in the United States. He came here, and I cried so hard. Jay, go ahead.
No,
No,
I'm just sitting there just loving your story.
So anyway, I cried and cried because I didn't want to come. And then a year later, my father decided that maybe it was better to go back to Venezuela. And then I cried and cried for him not to take me back because I loved this country so much, and I saw so much opportunity for a woman, and education was for me so different. So I cried and cried not to go back. And I remember my mom saying to my dad, she did not ask to come to the States. Now she's not registered in schools in Venezuela, which the process is not as agile as here in the United States. And I think she should stay. And that was a big sacrifice for my mom because we were not, at the time, Venezuela was not a country where people migrated that much. And people did not, and some people studied abroad, but it's not what my parents envisioned. So it was hard for them, but it was a great opportunity for me. So that was that. I graduated with a psychology degree here in the States, and went back to Venezuela just for a very short period to because I wanted to come back to get a post baccalaureate in languages. Love languages, and I met who was my first husband in Venezuela, also a mix because he's Italian, so my daughters are half Italian. So I had two babies in Venezuela, and then I came back. Jay, I came back after 10 years due to a bad experience. I was a victim of a very severe crime with one of my daughters, and I said no more, and now I'm here. So
Wow, what a beginning, what a backdrop. I mean, to be able to hear where you came from. You know, when you speak of Venezuela, you know it always holds a very near and dear place in my heart, as I lived there for several months when I played professional baseball there in Caracas for the La Guaira Tiburones. By the way, are you a Tiburones fan?
no, I'm actually from Aragua, so Tigres de Aragua, Tigres de Aragua. So
Hey,
I an anecdote about baseball. You know how big baseball is in Venezuela, and you guys used to come all the time and go to Venezuela, and it was such a big deal every time the Americans went to play in Venezuela. And I went to a few events as a young girl, so it's funny that you say that you went there. That brings back memories of young BJ.
yeah, I mean, it's just the energy there, the vibrancy. I mean, it's just phenomenal. And speaking of that, let's talk about how you've progressed through life. You talked about going through some tough challenges, even having a crazy crime with you and your daughter. And so the one thing I've always appreciated about strong women like yourself is the ability to bounce back, the ability to adapt and overcome. Why don't you speak to some of our ladies out there who might be going through some tough, challenging times? What are some tips you could give them on what you did in order to bounce back, BJ?
You know, Jay, now is where I'm going to thank the stars and God and everybody else that helped me along, because there are things in me, Jay, that were already there. For example, I remember a cousin of mine. She was older than me, and she's no longer with us. And when I was studying in the States and I would go to Venezuela to visit, one time that I was there visiting, she said to me, I admire you so much. And, I was so young. I was, 20 years old, and I didn't understand how she would admire me because I admired her. And she was one of my older cousins. And she says, I admire you because you have the guts to live alone in the United States, to study there. And I never had that. And at that moment, I didn't think I was doing anything special, because how many international students you see. So I didn't think I was special. But I guess sometimes you have things with you that come from a very young age, or maybe you learn through your growing up. And I did have a very strong tool to see change. So every time that life has brought change to me, I'm able to say, this is what I have. What do I do? If I need to reinvent myself, like when I came alone with two kids, right? My kids were 5 and 6 when I brought them to this country.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm going, and this is what I'm going to. And some people thought I was crazy. Some people thought that I should have stayed. And look where Venezuela is right now. And now I have a very successful daughter in New York, a very successful daughter in Los Angeles. And they still thank me that I had the capacity at the time to say, you know what, we leave. And I was a very young woman then, So I think, Jay, that and also, if I were to say something powerful that I think it's powerful for another woman out there is because sometimes when we are going through bad situations, we think we're alone. We feel very alone. Mostly people that are in leadership, whether you're the one that is, if you're a leader of your home, you're the person that are raising these kids, or in my case, I was raising my kids alone. So many times I faced things that were really, really rough situations, where in hindsight, when I look back, I did have people I could reach out to. I did have people that I could have said, could you help me? Could you go to the doctor with me? Could you watch my kids? But in that moment, you just do it all. So if I were to say something, just make sure, first, as I've said before in platforms, build your team before the storm, right? And I use Florida as an example because we have hurricanes here in Florida. And I say it's very hard when you have the hurricane on top of you or 2 days away. It's very hard to assemble that team because everybody's doing their own thing. Everybody's in survival
Right.
mode. You assemble your team for life when there's calm. Who are those people that are going to help you? If you're a single parent, who's the person when that child falls sick or you fall sick? Who's helping? Who's the handyman or the handywoman? Who don't call in emergencies? Have that team in place, because that's easier. Then that person will be available for you when you need them. So I think that's one of the strongest things I'd like to share, or that comes to mind right this minute.
Right. I love that analogy, preparing before the hurricane, get yourself together. So what are you currently doing right now? Like, what's your career look like right now, BJ?
So I'm right now, so my strength, I've been 26 years, Jay, in the real estate industry with several hats. And my last position, I stepped down 2 years ago. I've been coaching, business coaching for a long time, but for many years, I dedicated myself to coaching real estate agents. And then 2 years ago, I saw that the way that I was influencing people was beyond the business. I was influencing people more, or inspiring people more to be better, to be that better version of themselves. So my strength right now, and what I dedicate myself to, is those people that have any kind of leadership roles in life, whether it's at work, whether it's in their churches, wherever they have those leadership roles, because leadership is a very lonely field. Because when you're a leader, most of the time you're the expert. You're the person that's supposed to guide everybody. You're the one with all the answers, and all leaders are just humans, right? So that is, I work a little bit one-on-one with people. I do transition too, for people that are going from one leadership position to another leadership position, and how to prepare them to that new company or that new position. And I hold masterminds and workshops for specific industries. One of them being the real estate industry, and another one being women. And I never, some people tell me, and it comes to mind because I'm here with you in such a important event, which is this week that you have dedicated to women, which I'm so thankful, Jay, and so honored to be included, because I've seen some of the powerful people that you have on this platform, and these women are amazing. So I thank you for including me. But one thing that I think that it's been hard for me to say I only work with women, even though I know that I have a lot of strengths with women just by the fact that I am a woman. But I've had many clients that are men. So it's hard for me, even though many experts tell me, your niche should be this or that. I said, no, I don't know. I've had many clients that I coach that are men. So I'm not sure I want to do that. But so right now, a little open. I say to everybody, Jay, you can go to my website, leadwithbj.com. There I have my offerings and what I want to bring to the world. And basically, I just want to elevate all of us together, just to make sure that you were in point A, let's go to point B, let's go to point C. And I don't feel, Jay, like I've been in your presence now for a few days, right? And Lena, and I just listen, right? Because there's so much that we need to learn. People think sometimes when we're on stage that we're the experts, and I love to listen, because I think that everybody with their stories and their wisdom, when they share, and you are able then to reflect as a person and say, wow, I never thought of that way. Or that person has such a completely life experience. So I'm basing my advice, or I'm basing my guidance on my experience. I'm not thinking globally. So I think it's very important to always examine ourselves and say, am I saying just because of me, or am I really thinking of others? So for me, it's fascinating. The human experience is fascinating, Jay, for me. So I'd like
Wow.
to be around people and experience, and share and learn. um, I think that we're in this world. I don't think I'm going to be a Mother Teresa or a Nelson Mandela, but I can tell you, I think we all have the responsibility to leave this world a little better than we found it. And for those of us that are parents, it's, I think it's the legacy we want to leave for our kids. So that's what I
Absolutely, absolutely. You are I told y'all, you come on at Women's Empowerment Week, we will not let you down. BJ is just bringing absolute power and fire, and I'm loving it. You're inspiring the heck out of me. I always say, who encourages the encourager? So I'm always encouraging so many people, and now here's BJ encouraging me. I'm all fine. I'm about to get up and run down and go down the street listening to you talk.
Oh, listen,
This is
now,
great.
now I'm going to blush through the camera, because one of the things I have experienced with you in the room, Jay, is that your level of energy. So now that's another, you inspire me to share something else. And that is, we're not the same when we see a Jay, or maybe you see me now with a certain energy. That's not necessarily true all the time. We also have to make sure that we're at that level. So I always inspire people to say, look, we all have our lows, and there are days that are not, that don't seem as bright as they should be. And we just work it. We just say, you know what, this is going to be a wonderful day. I'm going to turn this around, and this is going to be a wonderful day. So sometimes, don't think that everything comes naturally. I even say, when people talk bad about people that are just influencers, oh no, they're just beautiful people, they're just putting their pictures there. No, 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 no. When you have those people, and those, you sometimes so very young, with the amount of following that they have a system. They know what to post, they know when to post, they're giving value all the time to their audiences. So I think that's what it is, to put ourselves, find that energy. Jay, we shared a little bit before we were here on stage, how you exercised before this, and I did too. And the reason
Right.
why is, I'm a little behind. I mean, I'm a little ahead of you, because you're are you in Vegas right now, Jay?
Yes, yes, yeah. I'm in Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
and I'm in Florida, so I'm a little behind you. So
Right.
my day has been very long already. And I said, for me to be present today, right, to bring a level of energy that your audience would appreciate, I had to put myself in stage, regardless of the energy I may have. So I exercised, jumped on that bike for 20 minutes, and took a shower, and I'm here. So I think that if I were to give any inspiration today for those of us that wake up one day that we can hardly make it out of bed, is that it's all in our thoughts, right? I, for example, meditate. Other people do other things. You don't have to meditate. You can exercise, you can pray, whatever it is that puts you in that mindset, and say, what, I'm going to show up. Just show up, and show up at your best.
I am showing up at my best right now, because I'm getting ready to ask you, what are your best 3 tips you would give to women or anyone right now dealing with the pandemic? So many people are at home. They're trying to figure out what to do. There's so much uncertainty in the world. What is 3 key tips that maybe you're doing, or you could provide the advice for other people? Y'all got to understand, BJ right now has over 5,000 people following her on Clubhouse, which is unbelievable. Compare that to like an Instagram. 5,000 on Clubhouse is probably like 30 or 40,000 equivalent on Instagram. She's got a big following. Give us 3 key tips, BJ. We'd love to hear that.
Wow. So for me, I think so. The pandemic, for reasons that we're not going to talk today, hit me really hard. So if I'm going to say something, is the first one is, know that we're guided. Concentrate on whatever you believe. If it is God, God. If it's a universe, the universe. We are guided, and this is a human experience, and this is all okay. That's the first thing. Second, I think go to nature. Nature connects us wherever you are in the world. Just if it's mountains, I have the beach. Other people have trails. Just go to nature, because nature connects you to that experience, the life that we have. And third is, do not stay too long in something that might not be working. So if you need to reinvent, if you need to shift, do not things. For me, change has been a constant. For some other people, the pandemic surprised them terribly. So make sure that you're always on your toes, because change is inevitable. For some people, it comes more frequent, and for some people, it has to take a pandemic. So just don't stay too long. If your model of the world is not working, if your business is not working, take a hard look. And if it is time to do something different, jump fast.
I'm going to ask you a question that I don't think I've ever asked any of my guests on our shows, because you're such a powerhouse and I connect with you at such a high vibration. What advice would BJ have for me?
Oh, wow, Jay.
Never asked that question.
Oh, wow. That's a big question. And ask me next year when I know you even more. But if I'm going to say something, Jay, because you do have the energy, you have the heart, I've heard you enough that I'm going to say, Jay, do not ever lose that north. Don't let anybody take that shine off. Make sure you keep your eyes in the sun, regardless of what happens, and come and do what you came here to the world to do. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow. Got me all in my heart. I'm just going to receive that. And I want to give that to everybody else too. That's why I wanted to ask that question. I knew it would bless me, and I knew it would bless others. BJ, we're wrapping up now. Do you have some powerhouse parting words? There's people that are listening in. How do y'all feel about what you're hearing from BJ today? Give us some comments. Give us some of that close and fire from BJ, the way only you can do. We'd love to be able to hear your closing comments, BJ.
Okay, perfect. I wasn't sure where we were going here, but I think that I just want to say that everybody, I would like to inspire everybody and myself right here on your platform, Jay, to lead first ourselves and lead everybody with love, and to use our talents and to use everything that we know how to do to make sure that we help people along and that we grow with the people that we're helping. Never grow alone. Always work with your team. And Jay, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to empower, not to empower, because I think women have their own power, just to inspire them to keep going, because sometimes it's really hard. So thank you, Jay.
We got these messages pouring in. We've got, yes, nature. I love that. We've got love you. Lena, my wife, says, BJ, you're going to make me cry. Tevis says, BJ, you're the bomb. Melanie says, oh my, such a powerful message. Tyler, thank you, BJ. You're great. The comments are pouring in. People love you.
Wow,
what can
Jay.
we say? We love you. We honor you.
You made me famous, Jay, and now I don't know what to do with this.
Well, this is going to be up on our platforms. It's going to be on the podcast, which we're getting a lot of downloads of the podcast. And so everybody needs to hear BJ's message. Make sure you understand what's happening here. We're empowering women, and BJ is one of those powerhouses. If you want to find out what's going on with my latest book that's about to come out, The Power of a Woman from the Perspective of Real Men, The Power of a Woman from the Perspective of Real Men, you can go check it out and get ready for the pre-launch of the book over at powerofawomanbook.com, powerofawomanbook.com. BJ, just real quick parting, how do you like that title, Power of a Woman from the Perspective of Real Men?
I'll tell you what I think of that title. I want to go buy that book right away, because that every time that I've been in the space of a female-oriented theme or question, I always say to men, don't go away, don't leave the scenario. We need you. We need you. We cannot do things alone. We're all here together in this experience. So I'd love to hear. That title is very powerful, and the promise of a title is huge. So I can't wait to read it, Jay.
Oh, you're going to love it. And I'm going to get you a free signed copy because you blessed us today. My staff will be helping out with that. BJ, it's been wonderful. It's been powerful. Everyone, we've given you another gift today in BJ. And so y'all send her some love. Go follow her. Go check out her websites. Go get on with Clubhouse. She's doing Clubhouses in English and in Spanish. She's all over the place. She's a powerhouse phenomenon. Thank you, BJ. Wonderful,
Thank you,
wonderful time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon. Till the next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.